drugs. One word used to define an entire range of substances, from alcohol and cigarettes on the one end, all the way through to crack cocaine and heroin on the other. When I was growing up, we were told to stay away from drugs. We were given campaigns like "Say No to Drugs," and it was my personality that was ideally suited to go and try something where somebody had told me not to do it and not given me any other reason or any other education as to the potential side effects or understanding of the potential upside of any of these banned substances. One of the areas where I think as a society we haven't been that good is in the education of ourselves and our children, in getting them to understand the potential dangers as well as the potential upside for various types of drugs, and instead labeled it all as one massive category of things that we should never do under the heading drugs. My personality type as a kid was exactly the type of personality type that would go and experiment with something if I was told that I shouldn't do it and given no other information as to why I shouldn't. And I've experimented with a range of drugs in my past, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity that I've had to go into those altered states and to experience what they're like. Some of the places that I've been to and drugs that I've experimented with in the past are not a state that I would choose to go back to, and they no longer serve me. However, I do believe that there are potential upsides, healing properties, and the ability to be more present and be more productive in a state that some of these substances get you into. Things like psychedelics and plants like ayahuasca have been used by tribes and communities for thousands of years to bring each other closer together and to be able to heal ourselves and to get us closer to understanding ourselves, our communities, and the world around us. And just writing those plants off under this heading of drugs, I don't think is a very useful way to educate us and ourselves as a society into the application of these plants. Today in South Africa, marijuana, cannabis, was decriminalized, and it's one of a list of other countries around the world that is following in a trend of decriminalizing cannabis and other related substances as a result of work and study and research that's being done into how these plants and how these substances can be used in a controlled environment to be able to cure things like depression, to be able to take away pain, to get rid of anxiety, and a range of other conditions that the correct application of these substances has a massive upside and potential ability to be able to create a space where people feel better, feel more connected, and take away pain, those sorts of things. An area that I've been experimenting with over the past few months is a process called microdosing, where I'm taking cannabis in really small amounts through something called an e-cigarette, like a vape pen. And when I take these microdoses of marijuana, it puts me into a very specific state, one where I'm very present, where I find myself in flow, where I am less distracted and more focused and more creative in the tasks that I'm going to do as a function of putting myself into this state. The type of work that I do really well in this state is my ability to be able to think about strategy, my ability to be able to write. I find myself very present when I go for a walk, take photos, shoot video, do exercise, do yoga, and I find it almost like a life hack as a way to be able to improve the tasks that I'm doing as a function of using these plants. And it's something that in the past I would have steered away from, not spoken about, kept a secret because of the fact that there was a stigma attached to taking drugs. But I feel it's something that I should speak about because it really does feel like something that has a massive plus and an impact in my life. And I want to show you today how I use cannabis in a micro dose to get me into one of these flow states, and it might be something that can help you if you find yourself needing to do work in this type of a space. I probably need to put a disclaimer in here to say that I'm not sure where you are and how the law looks at things like cannabis use in your particular state or your country is. So I'm not suggesting that this would be for you. I'm just going to show you what I do, and I would suggest these types of altered states are done only in a controlled environment where you are comfortable around people that you know doing tasks that don't require you to, for example, fly an airplane or conduct surgery. This is just what I do, and I'm not suggesting that it's something that you should try, but I'm going to show you how I use cannabis to get you into that flow state that I was talking about earlier. Okay, so please excuse the mess of this table. I just wanted to quickly show you my routine for doing this. This is what I bought yesterday for $40 US. As I said, it's really expensive. It depends on which country you live in. It's not amazing stuff. This is going to last me, I would probably end up having to throw this away because I never fly with it. But this is going to last me months, a couple months. I use a really small amount of it in this vape pen here, which is a rechargeable thing called V2 Pro Series 3X. Essentially what it does is it warms up to a very specific temperature and heats this little canister here where you put the weed inside, and then you pull on the back of it really, really slowly. I want to start packing this in here while I speak. Just to let you know, I take this weed in here, I put it in a really small grinder, which makes it nice and smooth, breaks it up a little bit, then pack some of that out. This is probably going to be just about enough, I think, for what I need. It may even be too much, I'll just see. This stuff just goes directly in the back here. This canister, so this product that I have here is called V2 Pro, and it's used for smoking those liquids that you can buy. And I don't ever smoke those liquids because I don't like nicotine. I'm using it specifically for this weed. But this canister that you get is called loose leaf, a loose leaf canister, and its application is normally to put tobacco products in. So if you wanted to smoke normal tobacco, you could buy normal tobacco and put the loose tobacco in here the same way that I'm doing it with the marijuana. So essentially what you do is it heats up this canister at the back, and instead of burning all the other components that go into treated tobacco and the paper and the Rizzler that goes into smoking, normally it basically just vaporizes the whatever's in the back here. In this case, it's going to be marijuana, and then you inhale it in the same way that you inhale a normal cigarette, with none of the bad stuff. Cool. So that's packed and ready to go. This thing just has a lighting system which warms up, so you hold it down once, it goes to green, and as soon as it's gone from red to green, you know that it's ready. And then just pulling gently on this, probably 2 or 3 long pulls, it's going to be more than enough. And I think, as you've seen, I didn't even take any off here. I had a really tiny amount of marijuana left in this grinder from before, and that's all that you really need to, as I say, get you into that flow state and to make you really, really present in the stuff that you're doing, in the work that you're doing, in the tasks that you're taking on. Am I allowed to do this on camera? Hitting a vape is very different to a normal cigarette. You hit it really, really slowly and really long. You hardly see any smoke coming out, but you can taste, there's a little bit of a taste of the marijuana inside. Cool, I'd love to hear your input and your questions if you have any on this. And maybe this is something that'll work for you. Just something that I wanted to share, and I hope you get some value from it. Cheers.